Starting in 2026, immigrants who choose to voluntarily leave Sweden and return to their countries of origin could be receiving a fat paycheck.
The Swedish government is offering to pay immigrants $34,000 if they go back to their home country.
The Swedish government is calling this a paradigm shift in its approach to dealing with immigration. Essentially, this new $34,000 payout is a 35-fold increase on the previous grant amount offered to immigrants looking to leave. But by increasing it and making it much more attractive, the Swedish government is basically hoping to incentivize thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of immigrants to leave Sweden. But the big question is why? After decades of welcoming thousands of migrants into the country, why is Sweden suddenly looking to pay them to leave? To understand this, we have to go back in time to understand how Sweden's immigration policy has evolved over the years. Since the 1970s, Sweden has been known for offering financial aid to support the development of countries around the world. And since the 1980s, it has also taken in huge numbers of migrants and asylum seekers, welcoming them into Sweden as they look to build new lives. These new migrants have come from countries across Europe, Africa, Asia, and also South America. For example, tens of thousands of people moved from Chile to Sweden to escape the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. More thousands moved to Sweden in the 1980s during the Iran-Iraq War, and also after the invasion of Iraq in 2003. And similarly, over 100,000 people were granted asylum in Sweden in the 1990s during the Balkan War in former Yugoslavia. And then of course in the 2000s, after Sweden joined the Schengen region, this meant opening up its borders to other European Union member states, with about 29,000 people moving to Sweden for work after this period. Now, this trend continued with Sweden opening its doors and welcoming thousands of migrants, until something changed in 2015, when Sweden took in an unprecedented 160,000 asylum seekers in a single year. The immediate aftermath of this huge influx saw the Swedish government change its open door policy, giving the plain reality that it had taken in a huge number of migrants in a very short period. And fast forward to today, the Swedish government's official position is that it is now facing a national crisis as thousands of immigrants in the country have not properly integrated.
Sverige har aldrig förr sett något liknande. Inget annat land i Europa ser något liknande.
The national crisis is best reflected by a sharp increase in the country's crime rate. Sweden has essentially gone from having one of the lowest rates to having the second highest rate of gun violence and deaths in all of Europe, with much of this crime believed to be driven by gang activity. Now, this sharp increase in crime has also forced Sweden to rapidly increase the size of its police force, build more prisons, and also create new laws just to keep up. And then there's the reality that a sharp influx of immigrants in a very short time is also driving wealth inequalities in the country, as well as the perception that the country's demographics are shifting very rapidly, with foreign-born people now accounting for 20% of Sweden's population. All of this means that there's been a major shift in the national sentiment towards immigration, with the number of Swedes who favor increased migration dropping from 58% in 2015 to around 40% now. So how exactly is Sweden changing its approach? First, it has moved from issuing permanent permits that allow immigrants to live in the country indefinitely to only issuing temporary residence permits. And it has also increased the income requirements for work visas for non-EU citizens looking to move into the country. Sweden is also working with other Nordic countries to align on potential approaches to deportation as it looks to reduce the number of immigrants in the country. And that brings us to the latest approach, paying immigrants to leave. Now, to be clear, this isn't exactly a new approach. Since 1984, Sweden has offered grants to any immigrants looking to leave the country. But this grant had two problems. The first is that the amounts were too low to actually incentivize anyone, at about $4,000 per family and $1,000 per adult. The second is that very few people knew about this grant program, with only one person accepting this offer in 2023, according to Sweden's migration minister. But Sweden is now looking to fix those problems by being very vocal about the grant program and also making it more attractive in the hope that more people will simply take the money and leave. But there's another key question here. Who exactly is Sweden targeting with these grants? The truth is, there are hundreds of thousands of immigrants contributing positively to Sweden, paying taxes, learning the language, integrating into the society, and respecting the culture as they build new lives in the country. But the government is hoping that the new grad program appeals to migrants who are unemployed and dependent on the state for benefits or otherwise struggling to integrate into the country. But as it turns out, Sweden is not the only European country taking this approach, because other European countries are also offering grants as an incentive for immigrants to leave. So let's take a look at a few examples. Denmark offers around $15,000 per person, while France offers just under $3,000 per person. Germany offers $2,000 per person, while Norway offers $1,400 per person. But here's the thing. None of these other countries can actually say that these incentives have worked on a large scale. So why is Sweden trying something that hasn't been a clear success elsewhere? The truth is, by increasing the grant amounts to $34,000 and raising awareness and also making this grant program a centerpiece of its new immigration policy, Sweden is hoping to achieve different results. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this, then please do subscribe to the channel and don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. And before you go, check out all the cool videos on the channel, starting with this one right here.